John Fetterman was talking about Donald Trump.
You have a singular political talent. It's undeniable. Trump. You know, he had the energy.
What? Depending on what day you catch John Fetterman, you may find yourself hating the guy. Or finding the guy to be pretty reasonable.
How many Arab lives is enough for you? 1 million? 2 million?
Okay, weirdo.
You're the weirdo.
Fetterman is actually coming across as one of the more sane Democrats. And that's saying a lot. Here's Fetterman sitting down for an ABC interview.
Going to be Donald Trump's favorite Democrat in the Senate?
I don't know what that really means, because you never know. But I'm just a regular Democrat. I'm not leaving my party, but I'm not sure why some of the things that I've chosen to do, like meeting with nominees and having views that might be more aligned with some of the Republican side, I think that's part of politics, and that's pretty much consistent with just doing the job and representing the kind of state that we have in Pennsylvania.
Looking forward, what are you most optimistic about with a Trump presidency, and what do you fear?
Well, it's like I've been warning people, like, you got to chill out. You know, like the constant, freak out. It's not helpful. So, pack a lunch, pace yourself, because he hasn't even taken office yet.
Do you think he has the potential to be a successful and a good president?
I hope, because I'm not rooting against him. If you're rooting against the president, you are rooting against the nation. And I'm not ever going to be where I want a president to fail. So, country first. I know it's become maybe like a cliche, but it happens to be true.
What was the single biggest factor behind Kamala Harris and Democrats losing in November?
This guy said country first. Country first. Nah, you're not a regular Democrat, Joe. Nah, Fetterman, that's not regular Democrat stuff. It's party first. You know that. See, not being honest. You're not keeping it real, because you know as well as I know. I'm not even a Democrat and I know that shit. I know that. I've covered enough Democrats. I've interviewed enough Democrats to know that that's not the way they operate. That's not how the party operates. For you to say that you're just a regular Democrat, and then you say it's country before party, oh my God. Nah, that's when the pitchfork come out. If they could get you up out the paint, they would get you out the paint on that. Yeah, that's how you, but see, what saves them is APAC money. Yeah, he ain't gonna be all but so like honest. Okay? This ain't honest Abe. Sit up in this mofo. In his sweat shorts. But he's gonna make his points. He's gonna have his moments. And that's all you can ask for. Let's keep going.
You have a singular political talent. It's undeniable.
Trump.
You know, he had the energy
What? Fetterman just said that Donald Trump has a singular political talent. And he says he's just being a regular Democrat. Nah, see, that's Fetterman. Okay, let's clear this up, guys. Fetterman is just backing away from all the progressive bullshit he used to talk back in the day.
Left, people signing on to the Medicare for All bill when he first introduced it, he couldn't even buy a vial. Very few people would sign on to it. And so those things became popular. And so people who are not true progressives said, hey, this is the train I can ride to get elected. And I believe what is happening to John Fetterman is that his true nature is revealing itself, that he was never a progressive to begin with. He just rode the train to get elected.
Back then, when John Fetterman was a progressive, he was Bernie Sanders' little big buddy. That's what Fetterman was. Where's Fetterman from? He's from there. He's from that town. Oh, I remember why he didn't come on the show. Because I had found out about him shooting some black guy in the street one night, like 2 a.m. or something. And I was going to ask him about it because I'm black first, bitch. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Somehow he went through an entire Senate race, and no one brought up the time he shot the black man in the ass. But let's keep going. See, y'all be trying to say, why Tim be having problems? Shit like this. Stuff like this. You think if Trump shot someone, people wouldn't talk about it? Hey, I'm sorry. Let's keep going. Fetterman, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. You were on a vibe. You were showing how truthful you are. It looks good on you.
And Democrats losing in November.
You have a singular political talent. It's undeniable.
Trump.
You know, he had the energy and almost a sense of fearlessness to just say all those kinds of things. And people, it's undeniable that it has an entertaining aspect for that too. And just, if you're not afraid to say all of those things, and after you survived an assassination, you literally were shot in your head, and had the presence of mind to respond, fight, fight, fight. I mean, that's a political talent. It's undeniable. And also, I never believed that it was about fascism. And for me, that made it difficult for
Kamala Harris said that he was a fascist.
Yeah, well, it's like that's her prerogative. I mean, but it's not a word that I would use, because you put a lot of Democrats, especially in my state, that I know and I happen to love people that are going to vote for Trump, and they are not fascist. And also fascism, that's not a word that regular people, use. That, I think people are going to decide who is the candidate that's going to protect and project, my version of the American way of life. And
who knew this guy was going to be so right? I mean, this was before the election, guys. This is an old interview, but I just wanted to demonstrate how truth is magic. You're just saying the truth. You're just saying the truth. It's like, this guy got shot and he said, fight, fight, fight. That's it. The fact a person is shot in a political race, campaigning, and then does that, the fact that people like saying, we can't understand why he won. Like, dog, you can throw a rock and hit a reason why Democrats lost. But that particular moment, that situation, that event, that right there is huge. That is huge. If he hadn't been demonized by the media for a decade, nonstop, if people had made their careers off dumping on Trump, if there hadn't been 50 books written negatively about Trump, books. How many books have been written about Kamala Harris? How many negative books have been written about Joe Biden? He been in Congress. He been in politics for 40 years. Trump was in politics for 4 years. How many books were written about Joe Biden? Negative. Well, if that wouldn't have happened, they wouldn't even held an election. This would have gave his ass a seat, basically. I mean, he got shot, dog. If Kamala Harris twisted her ankle, the day she twisted her ankle would be Kamala Harris' ankle twist day. If Hillary Clinton split her pants of her pantsuit, it would be the day Hillary split her pants. I mean, come on. If Obama, developed tendonitis playing basketball, threw his back out. I don't know. Okay. Let's keep going.
that's what happened.
I talked to a lot of Democrats before the election who were saying, we're going to win, Harris is going to win in Pennsylvania. But you saw this coming.
If you live in Pennsylvania and you spend time in Red County, Pennsylvania, as much as I did, the support's astonishing. I mean, I was driving home from Indiana County at 9 o'clock, and there was a Trump superstore on the side of a road. 9 o'clock on Friday night, and people are buying swag. And then that really crystallized at the assassination. And that was in Butler County, Western Pennsylvania, fairly close to where I live. And the day or two later, you start seeing people wearing shirts with that iconic picture, and the energy and the anger, and it's like, wow, I really thought, in fact, I thought that might be ball game. And then the second thing really, and that's when Musk and I, we're in the business, surrogacy is part of it, and sometimes it really has much of an impact, but I knew that was going to be a special one. And
the endorsement by Elon Musk.
Yeah. Well, an endorsement and an active one, and I'm not even talking about his checkbook.
Yeah.
It's rare if you have a surrogate that has a lot of fanboys and is very compelling to a lot of the demographic that we are losing in our party and in Pennsylvania.
Do you think he would have won without Elon Musk?
Well, I'm not sure if we would have lost Bob Casey, but I do think Trump, it would have been closer. I really believe that it mattered. We lost Bob Casey for 15,000 votes. And I'm sure he did move the needle. It's undeniable.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. But there's a number of people that I think that Kamala brought in. Kamala brought in a lot of people that were very famous as well. I mean, it's one Elon Musk, not talking about money, but popularity. Does that equal all the stars that Kamala had come out for her? Kamala had more money than Trump, and she had more billionaires backing her than Trump. Almost twice as many. So I'm trying to figure that part out. Nah, it's just the message. It's just, people had their minds made up. When Kamala had opportunities, she didn't take them. And she was herself. And who she is not a good campaigner. That's just the facts. But anyway, this interview's from today. I'm sorry. He's referencing things before the election, as well as currently.
How would you grade the Trump transition?
Oh, I mean, it's not really a grade, but I'm saying this as a Democrat. It's like I clearly, after he announced Gates, and I'm like, that's just, I described that. That's God tier trolling. I mean, that was never serious. And anyone here in Congress knows that he's despised by Republicans too. So that also set the stage, and here's what's coming. And now I have met with all of them so far, and the ones that we haven't.
His nominees.
They're on the schedule back in January.
Wow. Okay. So I'm going to jump forward a little bit, get past some of this stuff here about the cabinet nominees and stuff. That's not, I don't want to use this whole video. Here we go. Let's go to Trump appointees for 200, Johnson.
But we had, all of these interviews were all off the record, and those things. So I'm not going to go into detail, but he absolutely that's never going to happen. He was very.
He's not going to use the FBI to go after Trump's enemies.
No, that's not it. Or
did you believe him?
Taken.
I mean, he's written a lot.
That's what he claims.
Yeah.
And I found out, his family's origin story and immigration, and we talked about that. And my family immigration and things. And so I learned things about him. I never knew that he was a public defender.
So did you come across liking Kash Patel more than you thought you would? thinking you could support him?
It's. I mean, how much you can absorb in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But I have learned things, and I have heard things, and I have no regrets for having these. I never left any of those interviews saying, "Wow, that was a waste of time," or "I regret that."
Have you talked to Trump since the election?
I have not. I have not. No.
So I assume he's going to call you at some point. What is your message to him after he sees this?
What would I say to him? I'd be like, well, hey, well, congratulations, and have an honest conversations of things I would like to, we could work together, and some things we're going to disagree. I'd like to avoid the cheap heat and some of the other stuff, but it's going to be a kooky ride, I'm sure. And I try to be a committed, steady voice for Pennsylvania, and to remember that we have to find as many wins in the middle of an incredibly divisive times.
Yeah, man. When I listen to John Fetterman, man, and it's just me being honest, we got a guy who sounds more like a person who actually works for the people that put him in office. That's all it sounds like. Now, he's not totally that way. I talked to you about the APAC money and what he's been doing for that. I mean, this guy, he's totally out the gym for APAC. So that kind of destroys it. But more often, if you take that issue off the table and look at some of the other stuff he's talking about, or that he's making news for in his interviews, it's not like he's putting his people before the Democratic Party. And maybe by doing that, he's also putting his own self-interest before the Democratic Party in a way, because that's how he got elected. You would think so, right? But not everybody operates that way. Maybe his state is different. Maybe he gets to be more of himself, or this version of himself. Would I call it the truth? I don't know. Is that what John Fetterman's showing? The truth? I don't know. But it rings more natural. It rings like, it seems more organic when he's talking. I feel less like he's putting it on. Just how it seems. Could be the brain injury or whatever, the stroke or whatever he had. I don't know. That could be working for him too. I know that sounds crazy, right? But maybe it makes him a little bit more simpler, makes him more easily understood, makes him more basic, which makes him appear less deceitful. And some people think when they start using all these big words, they think they're charming the country out of their pants. Really, sometimes they're overdoing it, man. They put too much sauce on it.
And I ask you to remember the context in which you exist. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, but you can't tell them that because they know everything. Because they got a high IQ, but they got a low EQ. They don't want John Fetterman telling the truth that Trump has a lot of support in Pennsylvania. People were lined up to get his memorabilia. Who was lined up for the Kamala memorabilia? Why come we just can't say that's what it was? So there's a level of truth that these people won't broach. That even Fetterman won't even say. Like, why can't we contribute it to that? There was no long lines for Kamala memorabilia. Where were all the Kamala shirts? Trump is a rock star. You ain't gotta like his music. There's all types of rock stars who you and I don't listen to. They still selling a billion records. There are streamers I never heard of that you probably never heard of that have 20, 30 million followers. You ain't got to be a fan of someone for somebody to be killing it. The way things run in the Democratic Party, you can't say this shit. Or if you do, you become ostracized. But it's just truth. John Fetterman's just telling the truth. You can't tell the truth for the party, but the people want it. The people crave it. The people are attracted to the truth, but the party doesn't want the truth.